Good afternoon, everybody. I'm delighted to be here with you today. And thank you for joining us on our update around Kenya. I'm looking forward to giving you some first-hand feedback from our recent visit. I was there just after Easter and had the most amazing, amazing, amazing stay. We're just waiting for a few more participants to be coming on, and we will share those we will get going in a second or so. But I'm looking forward to this. Kenya is one of my favorite destinations. We've been working with the Safari Collection since 2008. So it's been a long, long journey and with Tanya and Mikey. And I was recently up there actually for a big birthday bash of theirs. And I think it's so nice to be in a situation where you can have both friendship as well as a good working relationship. But we have been working with the Safari Collection now for almost 18 years. And I know that because it's the same age as my daughter. And the first time I went to Kenya to visit the Safari Collection, my little one was only 8 weeks old. So I'm going to kick on now as we get going with things. Give me a moment. So today is our focus on Kenya. This webinar is being recorded for our online academy as well. And we will be launching 5 polls as we go along things on our side as well. So as I mentioned to you, I was recently up in Kenya visiting Tanya and Mikey. We had the most extraordinarily fun party. I also went to go and see Juju and Cara, who many of you might remember, who used to work with me when we were still living in the UK. I've got my little goddaughter over here in the corner as well. We've been quad biking, community visits, but lots of fun and amazing things. And I think what really sums Kenya up, and it's unlike any other destination, is you have this sense of life when you are there. It's you're visiting Kenyan people doing Kenyan things. It's a little bit like what we have here in South Africa. You've got South Africans doing South African things, and it's unlike many other destinations. I think this level of people living their lives in these destinations and like a little slice of life as we call it makes a big difference. Whether it be flying in an aeroplane or going up to the Samburu or going to a party or quad biking or whatever else it is, that really is the heart and soul and the fun aspect of so much of Kenya. And I think a lot of agents that do sell Kenya sell it because they're connected to something in the country. They're connected to a family or a friend or whatever else it is, but that connection is what makes this such a special destination. Before we continue very much further, I would like to launch our first poll. And I really want to understand how you feel about selling Kenya as a destination. You're selling it often and you're confident about selling the destination. You sell it occasionally. You find it harder to position versus other safari destinations, or you really sell Kenya as a destination. I'm very happy with the results, I have to say, that are coming in over here. This is looking extremely positive. And I think we can end the poll now as hang on, let's wait a minute. Let's wait a minute. We've got a few more people coming in now. Okay. Oh, the ones that weren't so sure are answering quite late. Okay, I think we are going to give it another second or so just to see how many of you are selling this. But it is good to see actually most of you, the answers that we're seeing here are you're selling it often and you're confident about selling the destination. Some of you are selling it occasionally, but not very many. And some of you finding it harder to position than other safari destinations. And nobody has said that they're really selling Kenya. So we're going to end the poll now and share those results. But it's really good to see this. So most of you are on the confident and often side of things, which is fantastic. Some of you occasionally, and nobody has said that they're really selling the destination. What we are going to do today, though, is definitely concentrate on how you should be using this as a wonderful experience and the diversity of what it has to offer. So, okay, moving into the Safari Collection, we've got 5 camps in 4 different areas, the Masai Mara, the Samburu, the Laikipia, and then in Nairobi. And we're going to go into those individually. So I'm going to start this itinerary or the talk today in the most obvious destination. So we're going to start off at Giraffe Manor, which is based in Nairobi. We're then going to move up to Solio Lodge, which is up on the slopes of the Aberdares and looking towards Mount Kenya, up in the Laikipia region. And then I'm going to jump down south into Sala's camp in the Masai Mara. I would then like to concentrate on Surai, which is up on the slopes of Mount Kenya as well, very close to Solio, just a little bit further northeast. And I'm going to end off over here with Sasab, which is one of the most ultimate experiences, I think, on the African continent, and what I'd like to really concentrate with on the end of this as well. So that's the order in which we're going to do today's presentation. And then what we love about the Safari collection, firstly, it is truly Kenyan. And that goes back to what I was saying at the beginning of the conversation. This is a destination with 5 distinct lodges and camps in Kenya's finest locations. It is owned and managed by fourth generation Kenyans, Tanya and Mikey Carr Hartley. Their kids are very involved in every aspect, of the business as well. They're still at school and finishing university and those sort of things, but it is a family run business. The diversity of the experience is absolutely phenomenal. We've got 5 different locations and easy to travel between these destinations as well. Kenya, in comparison to many other destinations, is relatively small and easy to get around, which means that your distances between the destinations is not too far, which makes it a very affordable option. And especially now at a time when fuel is a bit of a concern, it's good to know that you have got a destination that you can fly around very easily and you haven't got long haul flights to get between on that side of things. It's very family friendly. The Carr Hartleys have been taking their children on safari since they were babies. They've grown up on safari. They've lived their lives with their kids on safari. So this whole essence of sharing the experience as a family with kids of all ages is a critical part of this the safari collection experience. And then conservation is first and foremost in every single thing that the Carr Hartleys and the Safari Collection do. They have their foundation footprint, which supports all their conservation and community efforts. And I think that they are one of the companies that truly, truly deliver on a high level, making a profound impact across Kenya in many ways. So whether you're going to be having breakfast with the giraffes at Giraffe Manor, or whether you're going to be doing sundowners looking out onto Mount Kenya when you're going into Solio, or go camel riding with the Samburu up in at Sasab, watching the migration down at Salas, or just enjoying the vast open landscapes of the Loldaiga when you stay at Surawai. You have the most extraordinary, extraordinary locations when you're experiencing the safari collection. The second question I'm going to ask you over here is which of the following regions you sell the most in Kenya at this stage? So I want to know, really understand who is going into slightly wilder places. Are you sticking to the Masai Mara and well-known areas like the Laikipia? Are you using destinations like Amboseli and the Chulu Hills? Are you going up north into the northern Kenya or the Samburu area? Who's doing the Kenyan coast? And how many of you don't sell Kenya on a regular basis at all? The results at the moment are very much what I would have expected. This is a multi-choice, so you can choose multiple options over here. You don't need to be choosing one option at all. And there's the one person that has said that they don't sell Kenya on a regular basis, and I sincerely hope that we're going to change your mind by the end of this conversation. Okay, so if we end the poll at this stage, we have got 86% of you are selling the Masai Mara, 71% of you are selling Laikipia area. Then we jump down to 50% of you are doing Samburu, 43% in the Amboseli, 21% for the Kenyan coast, and 7% have said you don't sell Kenya on a regular basis at this stage. So moving on from that, thank you very much. Now it's a good idea. It's exactly as I would have expected as well, I'm afraid to say. So Kenya, just starting off in Giraffe Manor. It is, I have to say, looking absolutely fantastic. I was there 2 weeks ago and Giraffe Manor is looking beautiful. They've had good rain, so the gardens and the whole grounds are looking superb. Lots of lush vegetation all around. And you've got the 12 rooms located between the garden manor and the historic manor with 10 superior rooms and 2 family suites. There's also the day use facilities at the retreat. Kids of all ages are welcome. And as you know, the Giraffe Manor is closed for about a month every year between April and May at those sort of dates. And that is to just ensure that because of the high demand on the destination, that we do have good good way of fixing and maintaining what the look of Giraffe Manor is looking. So the main building over here is the historic manor, and then we've got the garden manor, which was built into 2011, a little while ago. And we've got the main rooms, 6 rooms on this side and 6 rooms over here on this side as well. The garden manor has been beautifully upgraded recently. The whole back area over here, where you've got the orchid house, you've got the wine cellar at the back as well, a beautiful coffee shop over here. The gardens are absolutely fantastic. And over here, you've got the brand new dining area as well. There's loads of space for guests to have breakfast and enjoy a regular sightings of the giraffes. And we've got the main dining area over here in the historic manor, and then lots of window space for the giraffes to come in. But whether you are in the garden manor or in the historic manor, you all have ample access to do giraffe viewing for breakfast. This picture over here was taken in the afternoon at the afternoon tea time when when the giraffes come up to the main area and enjoy the afternoon tea with guests, which is beautifully done. And then just to remind you, please, we have a split between how you can book the historic manor and the garden manor. The historic manor can only be booked and is reserved for those guests who are doing other camps within the safari collection. So those guests that are staying at the other camps and lodges across either Sasab, Solio, Surawai, or Salas, they have preference to stay at the historic manor. So you're staying 2 nights at any of those camps, and then you get access into the historic manor. For those guests who have not staying at any of the other camps, then you have access to the garden manor only. The breakfast with the giraffe is absolutely extraordinary. It is the most wonderful and exciting destination and experience to have a breakfast like this or an afternoon tea. I've been visiting Giraffe Manor since 2010, I think was the first time that I went over here. And every time you go, you cannot get over how amazing it is to have a giraffe join you at your breakfast table. Please take note that I know that it appears in many ways that this is, very much an Instagram moment, and definitely Instagram has had a big impact and effect on the demand for Giraffe Manor. But what every single aspect of what they are doing at Giraffe Manor does support the conservation of the Nubian giraffe, as well as giraffes across the greater African continent. Giraffe Manor is extremely successful in terms of its commercial viability, and that success has led to Safari Collection being able to support conservation not just across their own camps across Africa and their community support across a wider section of Africa, but actually to the conservation of habitat and a catalyst for other conservation work for giraffes across, in wider areas. But they are very much committed to preserving and the giraffe species, who's actually under an immense amount of threat. The rooms are beautifully done, lovely, big, comfortable, spacious rooms. You've got some rooms on the ground floor, other rooms up on the first floor. And giraffes are very comfortable with sticking their head into any window that is open. When you are in your rooms as well, you get a little jar of special giraffe pellets that you can feed to the giraffe. So you shake those pellets in the morning, and a giraffe will come up and pop its head through the window and say good morning to you in the comfort of your own room. And then we've got the beautiful new conservatory area where with the orchid house, which has been beautifully done. I mean, it is absolutely stunning, the number of orchids that they have over here. And then they've also got the new wine cellar and the whole downstairs that's built under the ground. And it's a fantastic addition to what's happening at Giraffe Manor. Finally, we have the retreat, which is a completely separate building and a separate entity to the historic manor and the garden manor. It's on the same grounds, and you can be at the retreat and you can still see the main historic manor. But this is beautifully designed, absolutely stunning, and the most amazing place for guests who are arriving early into the Safari Collection properties. When you do that 6 a.m. arrival or something like that, and those early flights that come in, you can get access into the retreat and have an early bird breakfast, which is available from 6 a.m. Where the guests do not sleep here in terms of an overnight stay. There are only day rooms available. There are 4 ensuite day rooms, or you can have a day pass when you can use the facilities to freshen up and that. For guests that are coming in from the Mara or from Samburu or any other part of Kenya, and they've got a late night flight out, it's a perfect option as a day pass as well. So we have $275 per person as a day pass, and then for those who want a room, it's just over $1,000 per room. So you can actually have a relax, you can shower, you can freshen up. But the retreat does offer the most amazing, beautiful, comfortable, spacious rooms, as well as a superb spa fantastic therapists, and our whole sort of relaxation area with sauna, steam room, jacuzzi area, a long big swimming pool. And when you have breakfast over here as well, or lunch, or evening snacks, the giraffes do come right up into the retreat area as well. So this is a great option to be using. And I think another point just to think about is a lot of people say, oh, you can't get into Giraffe Manor. It's always full. We do have a live availability, and you can always have a look at what the availability is. It isn't always full. It actually does have gaps every now and again. It does have a high demand, but there are spaces available. So it isn't a completely impossible thing to be able to sell. So do please have a look online and check what's happening with the live availability. And when you look at the Safari Collection live availability, it does show where you got confirmed rooms versus provisional rooms as well. And there is a high churn of bookings over here. So sometimes it looks full, but there might be provisionals and then it moves out. So things do move around. So the booking situation is quite fluid. So do just stay on top of it and make sure that you can get your clients into this. I would also like to say that I do highly recommend at least a 2-night stay at Giraffe Manor, or a 2-night stay in Nairobi as a whole. The restaurants, the shopping, the whole experience of being in the city is quite amazing. Where a few weeks ago when I was there, we tried out a restaurant that I hadn't been to before called Cultivar, and it is the most amazing fresh produce, beautiful menu, absolutely epic food experience, and that wasn't far from Giraffe Manor at all. And then there was lovely shopping to be done in the area around. But it's a great way to start a safari with 2 nights here, sort of recalibrate, sort yourself out, then go off and do your safari around Kenya, and at the end come and have a day pass or a day room at the retreat to end off as well with a little bit of a spa treatment in between. But I think that that gives you a very nice overview of how we are selling Giraffe Manor. I'd like to move now on to the third question. I know we have lots of questions today, but the third question we're going to be asking you over today is what best describes your support for the Safari Collection? We have very high demand for Giraffe Manor, so do you only book Giraffe Manor? Or have you booked Solio? Have you booked Salas? Have you booked Surawai, the mobile camp? Have you booked Saab? Do you book the whole of the Safari Collection and you use them as a DMC? You're aware of them, but you haven't sold, or you're not familiar with them at all. Please note this is a multiple choice, so you can give us different answers on what you have booked. And it's nice to see that there's quite a nice mixture of people who are coming in with different camps and options that they have used before. I'll give you another minute, or no, not a minute, I'll give you another few seconds to book this. Well, there are a few people that have said that you're aware of them but haven't sold. So that's good to know as well. So I'm very happy that you are on the call today, especially you are on the call. And I think we're going to end the poll now and share the results on that. So we have got 62% of you are booking Giraffe Manor, and then we have 54% of you are booking Solio. That's really good. 38% have booked Sala's camp, 8% have booked Surabaya the mobile, 46% of you have booked Saab. Nobody has said that they're using the Safari Collection as a DMC. That's interesting. And then you are aware of them but haven't sold is 31% of people as well. So quite a nice mix of things over here. Thank you for that. So moving on then, for those of you who haven't sold the Safari Collection, or those of you who are not using them as a Kenyan DMC, I would really like to point out that as Safari Collection is completely Kenyan focused, everything that they do is around they kind of got their finger on the pulse and everything that is happening in Kenya. Their camps are only in Kenya. They are really geared towards providing the best experience within that environment. I do recommend that you consider using them as a DMC. They are very good. They don't just book their own properties, they book multiple other experiences as well. They've got a fantastic meet and greet service at the airports whenever you're landing. They've got their own guides and drivers and vehicles, all based in and around Nairobi. So that works out really well. They've got excellent local knowledge. They live there, they breathe it, they kind of know exactly what is going on. The team are all based in Nairobi. They're actually all based at Giraffe Manor. So you've got this team that are very much integrated into all the experiences around. They are the most amazing concierge team. They're doing wonderful things on that side as well. And then they also have the most extraordinary way of fixing problems. And guys, let's be quite honest, when you do go to Africa, sometimes problems do occur, and you want to know that you've got a great fixing team on the ground, and that they are extremely good at all times. So just do remember that you can use them as a DMC and that they will book anything within the Kenyan context, as well as Uganda, Rwanda, and Tanzania from that side. So then we're moving up to Solio now, which is up in the Solio Reserve, up on in the Laikipia. We've got four cottages here and one family cottage. Beautiful views towards Mount Kenya, kids of all ages again, and then they're closed for the first 2 weeks of November. The rates are starting at just over 1,200 per person per night. That kind of gives you an indication, and the family suites are just over $4,000 per suite per night. Solio is within there's the Solio Ranch, and then within the Solio Ranch is the smaller section of the Solio Conservancy. This area is fenced. I think it's important to mention that, and the reason it's fenced is because it is a very, very strong destination and stronghold for both black and white rhino. I don't think there's anywhere on the African continent that you will go and see as many black and white rhino in one game drive as you will see when you're up in Solio. You can quite honestly see well over 80 to 100 rhinos on a game drive. The area has done extremely well in preserving and protecting both black and white rhino. And then on top of that, you got things like you got good lion sightings, you got your buffalo, your leopard, antelope species like the eland and the zebra, and all of those sort of things, and of course lots of giraffe. The one thing they do not have, which is also important to point out, is elephants. Elephants like breaking things like trees and fences, so they're not that welcome within Solio. There's lots of other space around Kenya for the elephants. So within this area, we have a rhino concentration and a rhino experience. To the east over here, you're looking straight up onto the slope, up onto Mount Kenya, and the most magnificent views of Mount Kenya. The game viewing is beautiful. It's got these big open plains, but then you've also got a fantastic uh, uh, um, fever tree forests. The fever trees are beautiful in this area, absolutely beautiful. And it's one of the key areas. And actually, I know I should have known years ago what a difference between a black and a white rhino is. But you sometimes, if you haven't seen them together, you get confused. The minute you go to Solio and you see a black and a white rhino in the same view, you can see the difference so clearly. And from that moment, you can never ever and get any of those species confused again. So it is a great way for people who don't know Africa that well to learn the difference between a black and a white rhino, as well as see many other wildlife species here. The rooms are large and comfortable. Please note, up on the Laikipia Plateau, it tends to be a little bit cooler, so your temperature here can be a bit lower, especially in the winter months and in the evenings. So the rooms are designed for warmth and to keep you, to be cozy. You've got beautiful glass windows looking straight out onto the views all around you, but it's not tent, it's not a canvas experience. It is beautiful stone cottages with lovely big glass windows for views, and then you can open up those areas when you want to as well. Fireplaces, um, lovely big, bubble baths and all of that. And because it's only got 5 rooms at Solio, each room has its own private vehicle, which gives you loads of flexibility on the game drive side of things. So Solio is like a little mini private safari experience. You're in this beautiful reserve teeming with wildlife. You have your own guide, your own vehicle, and you get to explore the area at your own pace. Or if you don't want to explore and do a safari, you can chill out in the lodge area. And yeah, we've got this beautiful little sauna cabin. Or you can do a game drive during the day. You can stay out all day. It isn't the sort of place that you have to do a morning drive and you have to do an evening drive. You can do longer drives and then come back in the afternoon and do either a mountain biking or horse riding. And then in the early part of the evening, enjoy a sauna. And the sauna has views directly up onto Mount Kenya as well. And then what I do enjoy about Solio is the vehicles have all got pop-up roofs and you sit on top of the vehicle. I know it's a bit chilly up there, but it is the most beautiful view up here from this location. You're driving through these fever tree forests. You've got the monkeys up in the in the tree line. For those who want to be a little bit more active, you can go and do walking safaris. You've got mountain biking, amazing mountain biking to do, as well as the horse riding. At the beginning of the presentation, there was a larger picture which showed you Solio Conservancy within the larger Solio Ranch. Please note, because of the density of rhinos, The horse riding and the mountain biking are done on the ranch side where there are no rhinos and not in the Conservancy side where there are lots of rhinos. You don't really want to be riding a bicycle with that number of black rhinos around. But what you do want to be doing is the most wonderful sundowner experiences. And this is the first horse box that was up on the Solio Ranch, and it's called Jolene. And the horse box has been turned into a super cool little bar. And this gets set up for evening sundowners. And again, you're in this fever tree forest, you've got rhinos all around you, you've got amazing drinks and dowers being made in the horse box, and you're looking up onto Mount Kenya as your view on around. And that's the views towards Mount Kenya, this beautiful, distinctive jagged mountain peak, which is the second highest mountain in Africa as well. And then we're moving on to Sala's camp. So we're moving down south into the Masai Mara. And the key thing to look at when it comes to Sala's is their location within the Masai Mara. Here you've got 5 tented suites and 2 family suites. Again, kids of all ages are welcome. They closed between April and May for a little bit on that side, and your rates are starting at $1,530, that sort of price range that you're coming in at. And the family suites at just over $5,000 for a family suite. Um, and then we have, just we'll give you an idea of where it is within the greater Masai Mara. You've got the whole Mara area over here. This is the Mara Triangle, which is cut on this, which is divided between the with the Mara River. So this is the Mara River, Mara Triangle to the west, the greater Mara onto the eastern side, and Sala's camp is right down here in the south, really close to the border of the Serengeti. So you're one of the first destinations to see the migration coming in, as the migration comes over, it comes in from the Serengeti, and then the migration moves around, and it's one of the final destinations to see the migration leaving as well. So the access with the migration is actually very, very strong. And we then have, oh, another thing just to remember, which I was looking at the picture over here, the rhinos. They've got good natural sightings of the black rhino, and the Safari Collection have been very involved in the conservation of black rhinos within the Masai Mara Game Reserve, National Reserve. This is an important map to look at and to understand what is happening within the Mara system. There are, a lot of people are talking about the sort of the how busy the Serengeti and the Masai Mara have become. What has happened in the Masai Mara though is through their conservation, through the management plan that has been put in place, which the Safari Collection, well, mainly Mikey Carr-Hartley, was very involved with speaking to the Narok county government and KWS, Kenya Wildlife Services. They've got a land use plan of how the Mara is being managed. So the red zones over here are all what we call the high use areas, and this is a lot more busy. And this is also areas that the day tripper vehicles get into have access. They're closer to the Sekunini Gate or the Talak Gate in those areas. And then you've got the area around the Mara River, which I showed you a little bit earlier. And this is the Mara River, which is an ecological zone, which needs to be preserved and protected. And then we've got the blue areas, which is on the southern section of the Masai Mara and this area up north over here, which are the low use zones. And Sala's camp is well located in a low use zone. The quality of their guiding and their guiding ethics are extremely strong. And this is a critical part of what they are doing. They don't chase around finding other vehicles and loads of all day trippers and anything like that. They offer a quality safari experience within the Mara without the need of bumping into many other vehicles. So they stay in their low use zones. And when they do go into a higher use area or into the Mara River ecological areas, for the river crossings, they have very stringent and strong protocols in how they manage that. If their guests don't want to abide by their principles on how they want to do things, we really recommend that you go to another destination. But Safari Collection is about conservation and the guest experience primarily, but we will not compromise in terms of just becoming another person that is putting undue pressure onto the environment. They've also within the revenue that they've made out of Sala's camp. They've been in the area for 20 years and are completely committed to staying in the Mara and committed to the preservation of this area. So the Safari Collection, through their Footprint Foundation, were funders of the Masai Mara Conservation Center. And this is a center that is being used both for the rhino monitoring experiences, as well as how they are managing the land usage within the national park. Mikey did an amazing talk with us at our Impact workshop a little while ago, and how they're actually going to be using Earth Ranger to start tracking vehicles and the density of vehicles in certain areas and creating a good flow of where vehicles are. And that will all be done out of the Masai Mara Conservation Center. So Sala's is right on the Kikarok River, beautifully done. This is one of the family suites over here, and then that's the main area. They've got this lovely deck area. When the river is dry, you can walk down here. You can play volleyball in the riverbed, or do dinners out in the riverbed as well. This is obviously a wet picture, as you can see by the greenness around you. But it's a beautiful camp with extremely comfortable tented rooms. It's got a lovely sense of style about it. Lovely, big, comfortable, spacious rooms, great views. You can literally sit in your bed and watch the migration coming through from the south and heading back down towards the Serengeti at the end of the season as well. All the suites have got their own private pools, which is great for during the hot summer months. There's a fantastic new gym that has just been built. They've got a spa facility as well, so you can do your relaxation between your game drives. There's really good pangolin sightings around Sala's camp, and of course, as I mentioned a little bit earlier, there's really good sightings of the black rhino in this area as well. Um, okay, you can do the hot air ballooning here, which they're going to do generally out of Keek Rock area. And it is, as I mentioned, a prime zone for the wildlife and extremely good guiding experiences as well with the Maasai guides and with families and general game viewing all year round. I think a key thing to remember as well is that we are seeing better and better numbers and demand for the off-peak seasons that are just away out of the peak migration periods. We've got good availability at Giraffe Manor during those months as well. And the camps and the whole Mara ecosystem is absolutely beautiful in that off-peak time. We were there now a few weeks ago, and it's green, it's been lush and all that sort of thing, while the grass is high and you might not see everything really, really easily. The game viewing was extremely good, but there was nobody else around. I think if anybody over here feels that the Mara or the Serengeti are way too overcrowded or anything like that, I'm going to say to you, please book it in a season when the highest demand is not in place. If you come slightly on the shoulder seasons or slightly into the green season, you are getting a spectacular safari in a vast landscape where there are not many other vehicles at that time of the year at all. So the next question I'd like to ask you on that basis now is, what is your biggest challenge when it comes to selling Kenya? Is it too similar to other safari destinations, do you feel? The pricing and the perceived value of the destination? Is it possibly too commercialized and oversaturated? It's hard to differentiate the top tier luxury offering. It's a lot of sort of middle level camps on that side. Lack of first-hand knowledge. You personally understand it or how to sell it. You haven't been there yourself from that side. There are too many other competing destinations, like something like Botswana and South Africa, which are stronger sellers, or Tanzania, which is coming up as a very strong seller as well. Or you got no challenges and you're finding Kenya as an easy destination to sell. I'm going to give you a moment or two to answer that. And great, this is interesting, guys. Very nice. Okay, great. We're going to end the poll and we're going to share the results with you in a moment. So on that, nobody has said that it's too similar to other safari destination. The pricing and the perceived value was 8%. Too commercialized and oversaturated was 15%. Hard to differentiate top tier. Nobody said that. Lack of first-hand knowledge, 15% of you as well. Competing destinations like Botswana, South Africa, and Tanzania, 69% of you has said that's your biggest destination and that's your biggest challenge in selling Kenya. And then 38% of you have said no challenges at all. Kenya is an easy destination to sell. So I think in terms of this feedback of the competing destinations like Botswana, South Africa, and Tanzania, which is your biggest challenge, I really want to then focus in on why I think Kenya is just such an extraordinary destination. So yeah, we have, so now we're going to move up into the north. And I have to say, I love the north. The minute you go to the edge of the Laikipia and then you drop down and you go into the wilder, the Samburu zone of the far northern zone, I personally think this is what makes Kenya so special. It is truly unique in every single aspect of a safari destination and experience across the continent. There's nothing else like this. So if you're finding it difficult to differentiate something like Kenya and Botswana or Kenya and South Africa, you need to focus in on the northern side of Kenya. This is a wonderful, wonderful experience. I love this area. Absolutely amazing. So the first thing we're going to speak about here is the Surai mobile camp, and that has moved now onto the Laldaiga Conservancy up into the Laikipia. Please note, not many of you are selling this. I don't expect many of you to sell this. It is quite a niche experience. It is sold predominantly by the private guides. However, I'm going to say, if you have a family wanting to do something completely extraordinary and different, you book Sarawai Mobile Camp for them. You will have the most extraordinary wild experience up in Loldaiga. It is 45,000 acres of pure safari playground. And in most cases, when you are booking this mobile camp, you are being hosted by Tanya and Mikey Carr-Hartley. So not only are you getting this vast playground, this exclusive camp, but you are also hosted by two extraordinary individuals who know and love the safari landscape of Kenya. Just to give you an idea of where we are on a map side of things. So you got Nanuki over here. You got Solio. Solio will be just south. So Solio is sort of kind of just off the page between the Aberdares, which is over here on my left, and Mount Kenya to my right. You got Nanuki over here, which is accessed on a regular basis by Safari Link Air. So very easy access into this area. Just to the northeastern side, you've got Barana and you've got Lewa. So you kind of, most of you will know Barana, Lewa. You've got Old Jogi. You got Segera, which will be just a little bit on this side over here, Sosian over here, Suyan, which is where the new and Beyond Lodge is, Loisaba in this area. So this is the whole kind of zone of the Laikipia area. Lildaiga is well located. It's got Oljogi to the west, and it's got Barana and Lewa into the east. And it's easy to access from Nanuki because it's actually only about a 30-minute drive from Nanuki itself. So very easy to get into this area. And it is 45,000 hectares. There's not very much other commercial operations taking place in the Laldaiga at all. The Laldaiga Hills is a well-known destination, and you've got this beautiful undulating landscape, fantastic views. And these granite rock outcrops like this, but this big format landscape all around you, which is just magnificent. And yeah, you have a camp that is only set up for bookings that are being made. I think it operates in a very small season. So it's only got a few months at the beginning of the year, that in the middle of the year now that it operates, and then a little bit over Christmas again. But it is not a camp that is there all year round. It's very much a setup per booking. And you have this really unique experience once you're there. So as you can see by this picture, everything can be taken away. So, and you pay an exclusive use rate for the camp when you are here. There's a base rate and then an add-on rate for every person thereafter. But for a family, this is the ultimate sort of experience that you're going to get. Very comfortable, spacious rooms. You've got ensuite bathrooms, but again, it's not a permanent structure, so it's quite simple in its thing. And I think, I don't know how many of you joined our webinar a few months ago when I focused in on Beagle and at some of the nomad camps down in the south, and we focused on the simplicity of safari and the true essence of connection. And how in so many of our safari experiences now we're losing that essence of connection. This camp oozes connection. You are in a truly wonderful way of just feeling as though you've gone into a safari of a bygone era. We're just not got Wi-Fi, it hasn't got the trimmings of air conditioning or excessive interior design or anything like that. It is about simple, comfortable, and beautiful connection to your natural environment and being guided by truly extraordinary guides. Lots of different activities. There's water-based things, so you can do kayaking. You got you're doing your game drives, walking safaris, beautiful sundowners out in the middle of nowhere. But it is a real sense of this is the life of Kenya, I think, if you want to describe it. I spoke about it from the beginning. I said, when people live in Kenya, they kind of live and breathe a way of existing. And it's a life on safari. And when you go and visit a camp like this, that is exactly what you feel. You don't feel as though you're just passing through and being another person in a treadmill. You feel as though this all belongs to you for that moment. And that's what makes it truly special and epic from that point of view. Kids of all ages are welcome, and it is the most wonderful destination. Oops. And then moving on there to Sasab. I'm going to end over here at Sasab. So this is our final camp that we're discussing today. And I think that this is one of the most outstanding experiences. I've been coming to Sasab since 2009 was my first visit up here. And in all the time that I've been, and I haven't been nearly enough, I think I've been about 8 to 10 times up to Sasab. I absolutely love it. And I think this is, in many cases, itineraries start at Sasab, but I do think it is one of the most epic destinations to end a safari off with. We usually recommend about a 3 night stay over here. Personally, I would do a minimum of 4, if not even 5 nights up in this area. I know that sounds like a lot, but there is so much to do, and it has the most amazing energy and flow to the experience. You could stay at Sasab and do a little bit of a safari experience, but also use it instead of going to a beach destination. It's kind of got this like really cool, soft adventure, chill out aspect, as well as being rich in culture and wonderful diversity in terms of wildlife. So just to give you an idea of where we are, this is Samburu National Park over here to the to the east of Sasab, and then there's the West Gate Conservancy, and this is in where Sasab is located. Lots of elephants moving through here. This is a really good, strong elephant corridor, really great for wild dogs as well. Of course, you got leopard. When we were there a little while ago, we had leopard. We could hear them rasping and calling at night. You got good lion sightings, and then you got your unique things like your Gerenuk, your gravy zebra, your Valcherine guinea fowl, other wonderful different things to be seeing. The BCR oryx, so nice different animals to be seeing up in this area. The views are absolutely magnificent, and it offers a great option in terms of different activities. I love the main pool area. There's a lovely big rim flow pool looking back out of the Iwasanero River. The river generally hasn't got water. This is a green season picture as well. It's usually quite dry. And when it's dry, you kind of, it's got a good high water table. But this you'll then see the elephants coming in to dig wells and suck out water. The local Samburu cultural people come and dig the wells as well and get water for themselves. And the elephants use those watering spots as well. But it's got a beautiful area. And then the rooms are large, comfortable, spacious, very airy, very open. Completely unlike Solio, which was sort of more of the individual chalet type things with glass windows and so that you're keeping in the warmth. Here you do not need a fire. Here you need air, you need airflow. It's substantially different temperature and terrain compared to something like Solio. It's about a 25-30 minute flight between the two, and in that time you can sometimes do a 15 to 20 degree difference in temperature. You can go from 10 degrees over here at Solio to 30 degrees down at Sasab, and that's just because of the completely different altitude of the destinations as well. So fever trees all around, beautiful location, these big, comfortable, spacious rooms. All of the rooms have got their own private swimming pools like this. Lots of the rooms have got kids annexes attached to them, so you can have your kids staying in the room with you. It's super sexy, ultimately romantic for the honeymoon couples, but completely practical for families as well. And then they've just built recently their own 4C center because this is Sasab is a member of the Long Run as well as being a GER accredited member of the Long Run. So that means that they've got the highest rating in terms of their sustainability efforts. They've got the most amazing new Shamba garden as well with fresh veggies, and the food across all the safari collection destinations is superb. But their 4C center goes into the 4Cs about their conservation, community, culture, and commerce of what makes their business sustainable. They've got the most amazing stories about the rock formations of the area, a little bit more about the unique species to be found in this area as well. And then there's a gym and a spa over here as well as a little shop. But this whole center has recently been built and it works extremely well. What was the old spa, which is now been turned into a 2 bedroom family unit as well. This picture over here on the bottom left-hand side is actually the old spa that has been turned into a 2 bedroom family unit. Beautiful, big, comfortable, lovely swimming pool, lovely location, and 2 individual rooms. And then the second family room is right down on the riverside. This is a nice picture just to look at over here on the bottom right-hand side because it shows you how we've all got most of the rooms have now got an outside sleep out deck. So the deck is attached to your room, You got a bathroom over here, so you're not doing some sleep out in the middle of nowhere and you have to worry about where you're going to go to the loo in the middle of the night. You can choose, and if the weather changes or you get too cold or you get too scared or whatever else it is, you can just nip down and you can come into your own bedroom over here. But these rooftop decks have been beautifully done and are super fun. A lovely location. You can, it's a wonderful destination as well to have sundowners as well as an evening under the stars with a dinner under the stars if you want to do something romantic and private. Activity wise, there's loads to be doing over here. So besides going into the Samburu National Reserve for your own for your game drives, where you're going to see good wildlife sightings, excellent elephants, and general other big game sightings to be seen. That's usually like a morning activity. What really makes this area so unique is the cultural aspect. So here you are mixing with the Samburu, you're doing these wonderful evenings with the Samburu tribes, the young warriors or the women that are staying in the local communities. But the Samburu interaction is absolutely amazing. And the other thing that you're doing is walking safaris, sundowners out on the Sundowner Rock, and then the KTV biking, the quad biking is super duper fun. What they've just done now as well is created a beautiful quad biking circuit. It must be about I don't know. I did it the other day, but I don't know how far it is. I'm guessing 20 kilometers. You kind of leave Sasab and you go all the way back towards the airstrip and you do this amazing circuit drive. It's fun. You can do it quite fast, but there's also some technical spots to it, but it is loads and loads of fun to do that. We've got the sundowners out on the Sundowner Rock. For those who don't want to be doing, do want to be a little bit more adventurous and don't just want to be sleeping in their room area, you can do the fly camping out in the middle of nowhere. So that's also a possibility. And for those who want to go camel riding, because it looks fantastic on an Instagram picture, you can go and do a camel safari as well. There's lots of different options. If people have got the time and the budget, I highly recommend that you get the helicopters in. So we can do helicopter safaris at Solio as well, because Solio is really close to Nanuki, and Tropic Air are based in Nanuki. So getting the helicopters to come and explore from Solio up into Mount Kenya is an option, or going west from Solio towards Lake Baringo into the Soda Lakes and seeing the flamingos. That's all possible down from the Solio side. But when you get up to Sasab, you're getting the most extraordinary landscape over in this areas. You can go up into the north, into the Matthews Ranges. You go up into the much drier, more arid areas, and you're doing these sand dunes. You got these soda lakes. You're seeing the uh, um, flamingos. You can visit the elephant conservation area at Ruteti. There's lots of different stuff to be doing, but the helicopter safaris available in northern Kenya are spectacular and well worth it for those who can afford it. And then just from the cultural side, these sort of images give you the sense of the immersion that you are getting. So not only are you getting wonderful game viewing, unique experiences in terms of quad biking and camel riding and helicopters, but you're getting this immense cultural and real connection. And I think this kind of sums up what makes the Safari collection so unique and special. As I mentioned at the beginning, you start off by having breakfast with a giraffe at Giraffe Manor. You then go up to Solio and you are having sundowners out of a horse box looking up onto Mount Kenya. You then head down to Salas and you've got the migration right in front of you in a low density, in a low use zone of the Masai Mara with guides that are absolutely extraordinary and know how to give you the best experience in the Mara. And you've got a beautiful tented camp on the Kikarok River. You can then go up to Sirawai, the mobile camp, and you're up in the Loldaigas, which is your own private playground of unique experience to be doing. And then you end off at something like Sasab, which is a culturally rich, dry, arid, completely different location. And you can go quad biking, you can do helicopters. I think there is no destination that offers so much immersion, diversity, and true flexibility in any safari experience. And there are very few companies on this continent that do as much for conservation and community development and really show what they are doing and make every guest stay a positive impact on Africa as what the Safari Collection does. So we really encourage you to use more of the Safari Collection, to think about Kenya in a unique way and how explore these wilder corners that are away from the more commercialized zones of Africa. The combination stays of using the Safari Collection are absolutely extraordinary. You can save up to 40% of those rack rates that I was showing you a little bit earlier on the per person night rates. Stays at Giraffe Manor include in your length of stay, but Giraffe Manor is not discounted. Remember, Giraffe Manor is our main catalyst for driving conservation efforts across the safari collection and across a wider section of Africa. So Giraffe Manor, we retain the rates at all times so that we can keep up our good work in many destinations. But when you go and stay at the other camps and you're combining them, you can save up to 40%. So in the saving season, which is we're in a saving season now, 6th of January to 31 May, which is a beautiful, beautiful time of the year to be in Kenya, I have to say. Or from the 1 November to the 15th of December, another really lovely time. If you stay 4 nights, you save 30%. If you're staying 7 nights between the camps, you're up to 35%, and 10 nights, you're at 40%. And then in the season, which is the peak time, which is 1 June to 31 October, and over the Christmas period of 16 to 31 December, it's the same sort of thing, but it's just 5% less. So it's hardly a massive difference. So still in peak season, when you're doing a 10-night stay, you can save up to 35%. And guys, considering the cost of access at the moment, and everybody's going alarm belling over the flight costs and all those sorts of things, I think a saving like this really makes you well worth flying to Africa to still get these savings. The 35% saving or the 40% saving that you're going to be making well offsets the increase in the international flight costs that anybody's going to be facing on that side. On fuel, by the way, I was with Mikey recently, and Mikey, just being Mikey and knowing how to be pragmatic and practical and one of those sort of things, has bought a big supply of fuel. So they are well stocked on their side in terms of getting, making sure that their wheels keep turning in Kenya. Finally, I've got one last set of questions for you. So now, what is the biggest takeaway from today? We have to ask this. Because the diversity, this is multiple choice as well, so you can answer many things. The diversity of Kenya, the great value that the Safari Collection offers, considering using Safari Collection as a DMC in Kenya, the conservation and community commitment of the Safari Collection, which I think is extraordinary. You wanting to sell more of Giraffe Manor, you want to sell more of Solio, you want to sell more of Salas, you want to sell more of Sirawai, or you want to sell more of Sasab. And you can answer yes to most of these questions if you want to. I won't be offended in any way at all. So I think that that's a very nice one to have. We've got a few more of you answering. And we will give it, hold on a second or two. But I just, while people are finishing off on this side, I think I just want to say a very, very big thank you for your time today. We really, really appreciate it sincerely. And I am going to end the poll. No, there's still got more people. Oh, this is quite, you're quite enthusiastic about answering this, guys, which I'm delighted about. Thank you. Okay, I think we're going to end the poll now and share those results. So, sharing the results, we've got 75% of you have said that the biggest takeaway has been the diversity of Kenya, 69% the great value that Safari Collection offers, 63% of you are going to start using Safari Collection as a DMC. That's a big increase from what we said at the beginning. So thank you very much for that. 50% of you have been the conservation and community commitment from the Safari Collection. 38% are going to sell more Giraffe Manor. 44 are going to sell more Solio, 50% are going to sell more Salas, 50% are going to sell more Sirawai. That is amazing, guys. I'm going to hold you to that, by the way. And 50% of you said you're going to sell more of Sasab. That is a great result at the end of the day. I really, really appreciate that feedback from you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Finally, just to give you a roundup of things, do remember everything that you need is on our agent toolkit on the Classic Portfolio website. Everything is there. This recording will be turned into one of our Classic Academy webinars. So these recordings do go into our webinar and our Academy section on the website. We've got fantastic individual fact sheets. I think they're brilliantly done. Rosie in our office is doing the most amazing things in terms of our collateral, but our fact sheets are superb. The crib sheet is always up to date, so please look at our crib sheet. It's a Google document, and we've got our suggested itineraries as well. But the website is our most fantastic resource for you as our key trade partners. I really appreciate your time today. Thank you for joining us, and we look forward to continuing on these conversations. I think the next webinar is possibly at the end of May. I must just check my schedule at this stage. We will be at We Are Africa. I'm there representing Kwandwe in 2 weeks' time. And then I'm going to be most of our members, including the Safari Collection and many of the other members, are all going to be at Indaba as well. Not sure how many of you will be in Indaba. We do encourage you to be there. And I'm off to Gorongosa next week as well. So Gorongosa next week, we're Africa the week after, Indaba the week after that. So lots of travel coming up on my side. And as always, I appreciate your support. And I think any questions we've had have been answered by Lauren, I think, on that side. And but thank you very much, and we look forward to catching up with you in the very near future. Goodbye.